Hello?
Hey, babe.
Hey, everything all right?
I just been thinking about how much I've grown through friendships, relationships. They don't bother me anymore.
That's because God is growing you.
Letting go of my past hurts, removing roots and some old dirt. No, I'm not perfect, but growing up's worth it if I give it to God and I won't get hurt. I'm shutting my past down, I'm putting Him first. I'm pushing past my mess ups. I'm in too deep cause I leveled up. He got my mind right, no pain in my sight. Let the river flow, no shade to my past, but please know that I gotta grow. I put a seed in the ground, now He gon' water it down. Oh yeah. Grow. If you look at me now, I would never try out. I'm getting more older now, I'm seeing much clearer now. Life has its lessons, so many blessings. No more going back, gotta get on the right track. I leveled up on my haters, they keep switching up like the weather. All I gotta do is keep on making boss moves and I stay rooted like a tree planted by the rivers of water. I'ma keep on soaring, I'ma keep on growing. I see the blessings coming my way, my seed in the ground, let it shine all day. In the ground, I put a seed and He gon' water it down. Yeah. If you look at me now, I would never try out. Grow. I put a seed in the ground, He gon' water it down. He gives the increase. Grow. If you look at me now, I put my seed in the ground, I put my seed in the ground, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you how much I love that song. I love that song. I love that song, man.
Bruh.
Can't tell y'all how much I love that song. Yo,
Shout
man,
out to
thank you
my
guys.
dad.
Yes, indeed. Yo, thank you guys so very much for tuning in to Trailblazers Radio, man. Man, welcome to the check-in, y'all. This is a show that we talk about all things mental health as it pertains to my brothers, as it pertains to my sisters. But tonight, this particular show is going to be directed to my brothers. So any brothers in the crib, any brothers in the house, any brothers that's listening or watching right now, man, I want you guys to tune in because this is especially for you. And when I say especially for you, I mean especially for you. But before we jump into any of that, man, let's just jump. Let me just throw these announcements out here right now. So first and foremost, the song my sister. Oh, and I forgot to tell y'all, man, I am accompanied tonight by my sister LHG, man, and we gonna jump into some things. We gonna jump into some
What
things.
happened when we get together, right? You know what happened when I hang with the
Oh
boss,
man,
right?
look here. Finna be some fire stuff, man.
It is.
But before we even get into that, man, look. Oh yes. Before we jump into that, man, the song y'all just heard which is quickly becoming one of my favorite songs. Look, the name of the song is called Growth. The artist her name is Mookstar Dash. And Lord and Jesus, man, let me tell y'all.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity to have her on the platform, and she got some great music. And look, I need y'all to go to her YouTube channel and check out what she got going on. I need y'all to do that, man. Please. Look, we Trailblazers Radio, we support independent artists and yes. Go to her YouTube channel, check out her videos, and show her some love, y'all. Please and thank you.
And if I can add to that, let me shout out my nephew. I tagged him, Joe Staley, my nephew from Detroit, he just released his single called This Is the Day on Timeless Made Music. So I need you all to go download that on all of your music outlets. That's my nephew. Go and get that as well. Shameless
Oh,
plug.
look here. Yes. Go check him out. Go look here. I need y'all to support these artists, man, because they out here doing their thing. They out here grinding. They out here making it happen.
Yes.
Putting out good music for y'all. So look, don't
Yes.
digital currency is free currency, man. It don't cost you nothing. Like, subscribe to a YouTube channel, like a video, check out an Instagram or Facebook page. Love like some of their content. Digital currency don't cost nothing.
And speaking of support, hi Simone, one of the biggest
Simone.
supporters of this platform. We actually, it don't get no better than that. We need to
look
get
here.
to the office.
Exactly. Simone Austin, look, we are baby, we appreciate you. We appreciate you so very much for just every time we put a show up, every time either LHG comes up, Quentin Coco come up, or I come up. Man, we appreciate you just always coming in and showing everybody and showing up and showing out. Oh, and please help my sis. Please help my sis LHG reach 500 followers on her Critical Conversations, because she been throwing out some fire ass convos, bro. Y'all, I can't tell. Look here, I've been looking at replays. We all throwing out fire content. Look,
it's a hot team. It's a network, honey.
If you missed yesterday, if you missed Critical Conversations yesterday, you missed a good one. If you missed My Life Destiny's podcast Monday, you missed a good one.
Yeah.
I mean a real good one. So look, I'm gonna need y'all to get on board, hop on board with us, man. Look here. We got a YouTube channel, man. We are still on the road to 100 subscribers, man. Go check out our YouTube channel. Check out a couple of our videos.
Yes,
if you like the content, if you like the content, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button and also and also hit that bell notification so you're notified when we go live.
That's
and
right.
Simone, your office space is coming real soon. We gotta rent the building first.
Right. In the meantime, we do have a wonderful bottle of water. So when you do get there, you'll be refreshed. You know how
Yes, indeed.
Speaking of water, y'all see my cup? It says LHG.
Look here.
Thank you to my cousin for making this special tailor-made LHG cup for me.
My water too. So the other thing, the last thing before we jump into this, man, I do want to give myself a shameless plug. As much as I don't pick up myself, I will do this now. First of all, I want to just congratulate all the contributing authors on this anthology. Raising Children is not easy, but it's worth it. The visionary of Sandra E. Jackson.
Yes.
This book became an Amazon bestseller and an Amazon international bestseller.
All right.
And it was a hard push, but we got it to that status.
All right.
Available right now on Amazon. So if you guys want to go check it out, please do. And do me a favor, read the book in its entirety, or check out a story if it's a story that relates to you. Leave a review. Reviews help everybody, all the contributive authors. Helps us to become better people, better writers. So
absolutely.
Congratulations to the visionary Sandra E. Jackson and all of the contributing authors. To Raising Children is not easy, but it's worth it. So
congrats, Mr. Beatty.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now,
absolutely.
Now, with all those things out the way, let us get to the subject at hand. So, tonight's subject is really primarily dealing with us as brothers, with the brothers.
Good evening, Mr. Abston.
What's up, Devos? What's up, Mr. Abston? Thank you for tuning in, brother. Tonight's episode is healing and rehabilitation.
Woo, I got to drink that.
Now, before
I'm just
now before everybody asks questions and stuff like that, please just I want y'all to hear me out for just a second.
Hey,
just a second. So the inspiration for this, I will tell y'all where the inspiration for this subject came from.
Okay.
There's a gentleman that a brother that I've been on Clubhouse. His name is he's probably not on Facebook, but if he is, I'm going to shout him out. His name is Jonathan Chevrolet, and we were in a room together. He mentioned this particular topic and aspect that I'm about to talk about.
Okay.
I want to give a big shout out to him because he is the inspiration and behind this particular topic that we're talking about. So, big ups to you, Jonathan. I appreciate you. Look here, those words of wisdom that you dropped on me, brother. I'm sure about to pay it forward.
All right.
So, let's talk about this. Healing and rehabilitation.
It's a good one. It's a good one, y'all.
When people talk about this, some people, not all people, these words and action, they think they believe that they're synonymous and they're a synonymous thing. However, they are in fact not.
Okay.
The reason I say that they're not because they're both part of a larger process.
Okay.
A much larger process. You know, I think and I'm going to get into this but before we even jump into that right now, let me throw a definition of what healing is.
Let's go.
According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, healing is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. Healing is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again.
Okay.
And that is kind of a broad meaning, that's a definition that's quite broad.
Okay.
Very broad. But before we even jump into the healing process, before we even jump into the healing and the rehabilitation process, we got to understand that we as men have to graduate from one aspect, which is the healing process, to get to the other aspect of rehabilitation. And we have to understand that these are both important processes that help us as men to move forward.
Okay.
You can't have any forward progress if you don't progress in healing. There's no forward progress if you don't progress to rehabilitation, because one leads directly into the other.
That's true.
You can't rehabilitate if you ain't healed. You can't skip the rehabilitation. You can't skip the healing to go to rehabilitation because it doesn't work that way.
Wow.
The reason that it doesn't work that way because you bypassed a whole bunch of processes.
Okay.
So let's jump into what the healing process is. I only got two tenets I'm going to talk to y'all about tonight.
Well,
and they're both
you before you go that way. Can I have a question?
Sure.
So, in order to get to a healing process, what are you healing from?
I'm glad you asked that because that's the first thing I was going to talk about.
Oh, let's go.
Our healing process as men, it begins with looking at what hurts, how it hurts. It also looks at why it hurts. We also examine the various treatment options mixed with the elements of self-care. So first of all, we got to look at what hurts.
What hurts? Come on. Foundation.
What are you hurting from? Why are you hurting? How long have you been hurting? Compare yourself to when you go to a doctor's office or when you go to, or maybe if you go to an emergency room. How about that? We'll compare this to like an emergency room visit, an ER visit. You go there, you go in there, your triage, right? They take your vitals, blood pressure, your temperature, pulse, all those things, and then the nurse runs down with questions. They ask you, what are you in here? What are you coming in for today? What is your quote unquote chief complaint?
What's going on with you?
Why are you here?
Right.
And so I'll just kind of make this general. So I mean, and I'll make it general for me because I've been to the ER with you know you know chest pains,
Mm-hmm.
shoulder pains, things of that nature. So it can be a plethora of a whole bunch of things.
Come on, plethora. That's right.
So when we talk about when we talk about the chief complaint, quote unquote, the chief complaint,
Okay.
we're talking about what's hurting you
Yes. What is
as a
hurting
male.
you?
We're talking about
Ooh.
what all those experiences, those negative and traumatic experiences that you endured as a child, as a young man, and then all the things you endure as a much more mature and much more older man.
Mm-hmm.
Things such as sexual assault,
Yes.
rape, abuse, child abuse, domestic abuse,
Yes.
emasculation, all these things tie into the chief complaint.
Yes. That's
All these
good.
things tie into that chief complaint, and because that's because and sometimes when we talk about a chief complaint, that chief complaint could have several other quote unquote symptoms behind
Yes.
it. So what are the symptoms? What are your chief? So let's talk about it. So chief complaint. Chief complaint is that I'm maladjusted because this is my chief complaint is I'm maladjusted because symptoms. I've been abused. I've been abused. I was abused as a child. I was sexually abused as a child. I was physically abused as a child. I was emotionally abused as a child. As a young man, I
Mm-hmm.
went through tumultuous relationship after tumultuous relationship. I went through problems with trying to control and maintain my temper. I've been incarcerated. Um, all these things are the chief complaint, are part of the chief complaint. These are the symptoms to the chief complaint. Now, the chief complaint is the origin, meaning why, meaning the why as to why you're hurting.
Yeah.
The symptoms are what I just said. All those symptoms play into the chief complaint. So now you're being triaged. The nurse asks you what your chief complaint is. You tell her what your chief complaint is. Now the cursory exam begins. The nurse may do a small exam
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of get an idea of what's going on. They may write some notes in there in your chart and stuff like that. And for a minute, they leave, and then you're still there with your pain, with your chief complaint, and you're there to kind of stew and wait for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Then the doctor comes in,
Mm-hmm.
and now they go. Now the doctor does a more thorough examination, and now they ask more pointed. Now they ask pointed questions.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been dealing with this pain?
Mm-hmm.
How long? And I can most definitely equate this to how long have you been in that condition? How long have you been dealing with? How long have you been dealing with trauma? How long have you been dealing with abuse? How long have you been dealing with emasculation and thoughts of doubt and suicide and depression and
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, PTSD? How long have you been dealing with? How long has this been going on?
Right.
It can be. You can say most people when we go to the emergency room, we say it's only been going on for maybe a few days, but
But is that true?
exactly.
That's the thing. When things are happening to us, whether it's physically or mentally, I don't know if we really are recollecting the true amount of time because we probably should be documenting some of the stuff we feel. When I ate these tortilla chips, I got heartburn on June 28th at 3:30. When I got abused, molested, then this is how I've been feeling. This is why I think journaling is important because
Very much
we
so.
don't tell them the real true timeline. I went to the doctor with my husband. He gonna kill me. And they asked him, well, Mr. Gooden, how long have you been? And who he look at? Me. I said,
Exactly.
he asking you, boo. How you? So he
You
gave
need to
his
answer.
answer.
You need to answer that
And I gave
question.
my answer. I'm like, nah, it's been longer than that, bro. Because I'm the one you complain to. So we not even giving we not really giving the accurate amounts of time because doesn't that play into a diagnosis?
It does.
If
when
it's
you
been
when,
acute or chronic,
yep. When you give a when you give an inaccurate when you give an inaccurate timeline, it leads to an inaccurate diagnosis.
ooh wee.
It also leads to an inaccurate or delayed prognosis.
Mm. Come on,
So
CEO.
think about it. When we think about it, I always think about it from that aspect. But before we even jump over that bridge, we're still in the stage. We're still in the stage of being properly diagnosed.
Yes. Like, what's wrong with
Like,
you?
yeah, the doctor's gonna ask, okay, well, what's wrong with you? How long have you been in this condition?
Right.
What's your pain level on a scale of 1 to 10?
They ask that. That's right.
You know, is there anything else that I need to be made aware of?
Right.
But if anybody who's been to the emergency room, these are standard questions.
They are standard questions.
But when it comes to matters of the heart and emotional and mental healing and things of that nature, this those questions hold sway.
Hmm.
And when I say they hold sway in physical healing, but they hold even greater sway when it comes to emotional and psychological and mental healing. And again, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a licensed clinical. So I'm not a social work client, not a clinician or anything of that nature. So don't quote me on anything. However, I do have a set of experiences
Yes. True to
that I
you. True to you.
that are true to me, and I
Right.
can use those experiences to kind of throw this scenario out here to you guys, and
Absolutely.
I will use myself, myself in this scenario. And I'm speaking as far as like the emotional and mental diagnosis. I never, these. I never knew that, going through emotional abuse
Mm-hmm.
at the hands of a woman, and I never knew that me being the participant of physical abuse to another woman would push me down a dark path.
Wow.
Never never imagined that.
Wow.
Never imagined being suicidal.
Right.
Symptom number one.
Right.
Never imagined being depressed. Symptom number two.
Wow.
Never imagined being, you know, moody and all this other stuff. Symptom number three.
Mm-hmm.
Years later, never thought that my 3 suicide attempts. Symptom number four
Mm.
would play a role in, where I am, where I was at the time. Never thought
Mm.
that losing a child, which is a traumatic experience. Symptom
Very
number
much.
5
Yep.
would play a role in my diagnosis. Never thought that being divorced. Symptom
Wow.
number 6 would play a role in my diagnosis. I never
Wow.
knew that all these symptoms played a role in my overall diagnosis.
Wow.
Never knew because let's just keep it real, y'all. Symptoms that compound on each other make the quote unquote chief complaint worse.
It
Because now you
does.
have symptom on top of symptom on top of symptom on top of symptom on top of symptom.
And then some symptoms are so sensitive that if you're operating in pride, you may not want to divulge what you're doing yourself a disservice. You're at the doctor's office. So you're at the place where nothing should be taboo, nothing should be embarrassing to a point because this is the person who is partnering with you in your care, be it physical or be it mental. So if you're
Exactly.
having symptoms in areas where you feel uncomfortable, don't do that because this is why, and it happens to be is it men's health month or men's month period, men's health month. So this is where you say, this is what I've been feeling. And don't think it, well, this might not be related, but say it anyway. It may not be connected, but say it anyway. Because you
Exactly.
don't know what's all connected.
Exactly.
Just put it out there. I'd rather you give them too much than not enough.
Sometimes too much information is better than not giving any information at all.
In that
Because
capacity, I just lay it on them.
I mean at this point, it's at its and for me that was a critical moment. My chief complaint was I'm not me. I'm not the person that I know I can be. That's
Ooh,
my chief
feel
complaint.
that. I feel that, brother.
But
Wow.
then the symptoms are being depressed. What else? Suicidal thoughts. Uh, and later on was diagnosed with anxiety and PTSD. So
Mhm.
these are all these were and are the symptoms. These are the current symptoms that I have while I'm in this ER room talking to this doctor. Letting him he or she know what the hell's going on with me.
Yes. Yes.
What now? Once the doctor gets all that into information and that intel, they put together a treatment plan. They put together what's called a quote unquote treatment plan.
Yes.
In physical medicine, that treatment plan consists of um can consist of bandaging, splinting, medication administration, um, all a variety of tests, whether it be whether it be a CT scan or X ray. We all know the physical medicine part of that part of it. So we already know that there's a variety, a battery of tests that we go through. So if you have a an actual physical ailment such as maybe a broken leg or you're having back pains or something like that, more likely you're going to have an X-ray or more likely you're going to have some other type of thing that's going to help. And
Right.
then that's going to take a look. They're going to look deeper into what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same process when it comes to emotional and mental healing.
Right.
But
I.
now the process is more of a self-evaluation process.
Mm.
When you have to take stock. We as men, we have to take stock of ourselves. The reason I say we have to take stock of ourselves is because as a man, there's already enough on either our broad or our narrow shoulders.
Yeah.
Even more so as a black man.
Absolutely.
So we got the weight of the world on our shoulders. Then we have the weight of being a father. We have the weight of being a spouse. We have the weight of holding down a job, holding down a business.
Yes.
Um, Not to mention um, even other smaller things that we have. Paying bills, car
Mm.
note, insurance, house note, all these things compound on narrow or broad shoulders.
Right.
And that's a lot. That's a lot for a guy. That's a lot for anybody to take on.
It is.
And then on top of that, not on top of that, then now we deal with stigma we deal with stigma
Yes.
of the stigma of us not being able to be not, able, not us not being able to protect black women, which I think is a lie. The stigma of us not being good fathers or good mates to not being good fathers or good husbands or spouses, which again I think which again I strongly believe is a lie.
Absolutely.
But these are the stigmas that we face, or the stigma of us being men and not being able to open up and talk about our issues.
Right. And what about the stigma of thinking that emotions are only what women deal with?
Exactly, that's
And
another thing.
only women cry, only women, have support groups or therapists. No.
Big. That's the biggest lie ever.
Yes.
But these are the stigmas that we deal with. These are stigmas that we deal with. These are underlying symptoms to the underlying symptoms to the symptoms that I discussed that I already said I had.
Right. Absolutely.
So part of our healing process, part of this process.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, physical medicine entails, like I said, uh, physical test, which could be an X-ray, MRI, whatever.
Right.
Stress test, maybe
Mm-hmm.
if there's something else going on, which is more internal type thing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or even more evaluations, which could actually lead to an admission.
Could lead to that. Yes.
It can lead to an admission. So
Absolutely.
The way I look at this, as far as on the mental and emotional side,
Hmm.
the admission part of this is the deep dive into yourself.
Okay.
It is a very, very deep dive, which involves a lot of it involves a lot of things. Because because sometimes we can go to the emergency room and we can be seen and we can be seen, treated, and discharged that day,
That day. Yes.
and then we're given discharge instructions.
Right.
But this ain't that case. I'm talking about a full blown admission.
Ooh wee.
So
Okay.
that admission involves us being, first of all, diving deep into ourselves and being honest and truthful with ourselves,
Hmm.
and admitting when I say admission means admitting that we're not okay,
That's good, brother.
admitting that we're damaged, that we're hurting, and that we're broken. Let
Hmm.
me let me put this disclaimer out here right now. And I don't care who says it. I don't care who look. I don't care who refutes this or what or anything, because this is a personal opinion of mine.
Okay.
It's okay as a man to admit you are broken.
Ooh wee. Thank you, Simone.
It is okay as a man to admit that you are broken.
Wow.
A lot of us as men walk around here thinking that we're whole, and thinking that we are healed, and thinking that we're
Wow.
strong and all this stuff. And dude, you are completely just broken.
Wow. Why is it hard to admit that? What is the underlying reason? What is the angst
That
in
word that starts with a P, pride.
that? Okay. Okay.
Pride comes before the fall.
It sure does.
And I'm saying this because, look, like I said, I don't give a damn if anybody says it's not true. From my personal experience, it is. And
Mhm.
I had to, as a man, I had to admit that I was broken.
Wow.
The good thing about
Woo.
the good thing about things that are broken, they can be fixed. They can be repaired. They can be
Replaced.
re- replaced. They can be repaired. They can be replaced, or they can be dismantled and built up new.
That's right.
It's okay as a man. It's okay for you to admit that you're broken.
Right.
There's no one's gonna give you the thumbs down and say, you broken. And if they do, who? And if they do, part of my
If
friends,
they
who
do,
gives
you
a
need to
shit?
keep going and leave them alone.
Yeah, if they do, part of my friends, who gives a shit? You're admitting to yourself that you are broken, that you're out of balance, you're out of order,
Yeah.
all these things.
Yeah.
It's okay to admit that you're broken.
Yes, it is.
Then what's not okay is staying broken.
Right.
So what we have to admit that we are broken.
Hmm.
A lot of men won't do this because of that P word, that PRIDE,
Wow.
or that other word that starts with an S, stigma,
Mm-hmm.
or that other word that starts with an F, fear.
Fear. Definitely fear.
You Why are you afraid to admit to yourself that you're broken? When
Wow.
you went through all this stuff, all this trauma, all this pain, all this hurt, all this the pressure of all the things that weigh on you as a man, it's okay to admit that you're broken.
And let's go back a little bit. You just said something. If someone has a problem with you admitting you're broken, you probably should not entertain that person. I don't care how fine she is. I don't care how many BBLs, ADLs, and ADAs
Look,
she has. if she has a problem with your brokenness and you really admitting your truth, you need to make some choices
Big
in
time
terms of who
choices.
you are cohabitating with. Because if you're in a relationship with someone that does not feel open enough to let you express your truth, male or female, Houston, I think we done found part of the problem. Yeah.
That is the hell. That is the problem.
Yeah. And you
That
can
is the
figure that
problem.
out in a dating stage.
Yeah, that is a problem. If you
Mhm.
look,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
I would. My thing is that I want people to see me as I am.
Mm-hmm.
Flaws, broken spaces and pieces and all.
All
Because
of
that's because this is because that's what you see. That's what you're gonna see with me.
all of that.
Everything that I am, you're gonna see.
Wow.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I'm not gonna hide that.
And they should want to see the real authentic you. They
If
should
I gotta put
want to see that.
if I gotta put on a facade to appease you, that's a problem. That's a
Wow.
big ass problem. And
Wow.
like I said before, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it. It's okay to admit that you to admit to yourself that you're broken.
Yes. To yourself
Because
first.
be
Yes.
be truthful to yourself first.
Absolutely.
I'm I'm broken.
Important.
I don't know what to do. I'm at a crossroads. I have no idea where I am. I have no idea what direction I'm going. I have no idea what direction I need to go to. I mean, it's okay to admit that because let's as human beings, we don't have all the answers,
Right.
and we're not going to have all the answers. So it's okay to admit that you don't have all the answers.
Right.
No one's gonna hold that. No one's gonna hold that over you like,
Cousin says
you
she's losing sound. Simone, are you losing sound? Simone will let us know. Thank you, Kenyatta, for letting us know. I hope you can hear us. Now, here's a question for you, Fred. Now that you have admitted that you're broken, you've gotten to a place in your life where I don't care what anybody says or thinks, I'm able to stand in my truth. Not saying I'm going to pitch a tent and establish full residency in the land of brokenness, but at least I can say, here I am. Now, the question I want to ask, when men or people, period, get to that epiphany that I'm broken, would it possibly be a good idea, since you found yourself there, to evaluate how you show up in relationships? If you've identified your brokenness, okay,
have to.
you know that about yourself. Maybe there should be that self-evaluation might say, in my marriage, in my relationship, in my job, have there been some times when my brokenness has took center stage in my responses to people when they didn't deserve it? Was that my trauma responding and not them being mean? Maybe I heard them, but I saw somebody else.
Oh, you have to do a self evaluation at that point.
Mhm.
Like you said, you could. It does. I don't even go as far even further. It's okay to pitch a tent, but just don't make that, like you said, don't make that tent your permanent residence.
Okay, if you're gonna put your tent up, don't keep it there too long.
Yeah,
Don't build a
exactly.
whole full-blown house.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
a tent,
Pitch a tent, build a campfire, but don't
but
make that your
not a
permanent place.
full-blown mansion.
Exactly, for sure. But you have to go back to that.
You
You have to
do.
go back and see what those trigger points are, what those
Come
pressure
on,
points
triggers
are.
and landslides.
You gotta figure out we gotta figure out
Yes,
who pressed the panic button to make that bomb go off.
yes. And you
I
may
want
not be able to do it alone. You, in your own experiences, may not have the tools to identify it alone, which is where the help might come in.
man, look, I will give you the prime example of the question you just asked. Prime example.
Okay.
Let's see. when I found out that my son that when I got the word that my son was killed and things of that nature. You
Mhm.
know, we me and my ex-wife, me and my ex-spouse, we did what we had to do, go to Virginia, you know, support family, put him to rest and things of that nature.
Okay.
We did all those things.
Okay.
What ended up what manifested in me was a lot of anger,
Mm.
a lot of hurt, a lot of resentment,
Okay.
a lot of anger at the situation,
Okay.
the situation, the circumstance of how we passed. So
Okay.
there was a lot of anger in me, a lot of it, and the job I was working at the time, my my performance suffered.
Okay.
My work performance suffered. My work performance suffered. When I
Mm.
say it suffered, I mean it suffered like
I feel that.
big time to the point to say you got to go.
Okay.
We love you. We love you. We think you're a cool person.
Right.
When we brought you on and you came into this position, you had a great work ethic. You were hungry for knowledge. You want to move up and you want to advance in the company, but
Mhm.
now you slip it and yeah, you got to go.
Wow.
I, that's the only thing that was it. I mean, it wasn't. There was nothing I could say to. There was nothing I could say or do to defend that because it was it was it was on me.
But what
You know.
happened to the remedial suggestions? Okay, I've noticed a change in you performance wise. Has something happened? Do you need to talk to the employee assistance program, aka therapy, that can help you? Because if someone comes in on cloud nine, hungry, thirsty, ready, willing, and then all of a sudden a complete 360 happens, I'm concerned because
Oh,
as a leader, I'm
we did that.
concerned for the individual first. I mean, yeah, the performance, I'll get to that, but I know you. That ain't you. That ain't you.
We did.
Woo.
You know what? We did all those steps. We did all those steps. My
Okay.
former supervisor, which before I was promoted before I took a lateral promotion, he look this guy do be this guy do be inside out. He knew the type of guy, he knew the type of person I was. He knew what my ambitions were. He knew where where my strengths were, where my weaknesses were, and
Okay.
he knew that I was hurting. So he was proactive in getting certain things done for me, which was
Okay.
cool. I mean, I appreciate I appreciate him to this day. Um, but again, when you are caught up, when you are in the midst of all that, when you are sitting smack dab in the middle of all that,
Mm-hmm.
you can't see left or right. You can't see forward or backwards. All you see is your pain, and all you see is your anger.
You're right.
And so I mean, they did all the things that they had to do, which they came up to the last straw and I had to go. I mean, me personally, I wasn't angry at that. I
Okay.
wasn't because I knew I brought that up on myself.
Okay. Real
You know,
talk.
fast forward, fast forward a year later, which was now I'm in another job, and now I'm in a different now I'm working in a different state.
Okay.
And so between 2015 and 2016. So in the year 2015, there were so many police involved shootings that happened at the time. And
Hello,
then
Mr. Glenn.
and
Go ahead,
then and then all this other thing, whatever that stuff that happened in Texas and all those things I personally took in.
brother. Mm.
And then now there's more angst, there's more anger, there's more hurt, there's more disappointment, there's more everything. All the stuff, all the feelings that I had and I
Mhm.
felt at the time was on 10.
Okay.
So I'm at this new job and I'm trying my hardest to adjust, to make the proper adjustments. I'm trying to do what I can to try to make the proper adjustments so that way I can I can get these 2 months over with so I can get back home.
Mm.
The funny thing about that is when I was in I was in Tennessee for 2.5 months. I I think I drunk more in 2 months than I have in an entire lifetime.
Wow.
You know, I did. I had quit smoking. I quit smoking cold turkey in 2008. I started. I smoked a pack of cigarettes in
Wow.
2016 when I was in Tennessee. A pack
Wow.
because I was that much because I was that wound up.
Mm.
Just all of a sudden now you just wound up real tight. If somebody pressed the wrong button, everything will just unravel.
But that word you just mentioned, adjustments. Do we allow ourselves the grace to adjust to change?
We do not
We don't.
because we jump right into it.
And we expect ourselves to not only jump in, but to operate at a certain level as if we've been doing it all along. Even when you begin a new job, oh, I want to
Yep,
be so good at this job. You make one mistake, and, oh, I'm so horrible at this job. You started 15 seconds ago. What's the
exactly.
problem?
And the thing about it is, change requires physical and mental and emotional adaptation.
Oh, come on, adaptation.
We
Yes.
don't allow ourselves to acclimate ourselves to the changes that's
Ooh,
going on.
you dropping some fire words, brother.
When we
Adjustments, adaptation, acclimation. Come on
when
with
we
it
don't
here.
acclimate, we don't acclimate to changes. We Change
Lord.
happens when we adapt and acclimate.
Yes.
True
Yes.
change happens when we adjust and acclimate. We
Yes.
just going with the flow is not change.
And not pacing yourself and knowing that you are going to probably make mistakes on this journey to learning a new position, learning new people, new concepts, and you've got to allow that learning curve for you to make those adjustments, adaptations, and become acclimated. And that's
Oh
in
yeah.
anything.
Oh yeah.
That's
For
in
sure.
any capacity. Wow.
You have to be able to do that because
Wow.
things change rapidly.
And do.
If you like
Look at COVID-19.
oh
And
yeah,
do.
man, look, that put a lot of people
Major.
in a weird space.
And some of us, like myself, is still in that weird space. Still trying to adjust, still trying to adapt, still trying to acclimate to a new normal,
But
whatever
to
that looks
quit
like.
my but to me, there's no such thing as normal.
Yeah.
Normalcy is what we're used to seeing, or what we're used to seeing, or a state of being that we've been in for so long.
Right.
There's no such thing as normal, and new normal. If it's new, it ain't normal.
That's a good way to put it, brother. I love it. I love it. It's new.
It ain't normal. It's new.
Oh, it's fresh.
It becomes normal. It becomes normal when it's an everyday part of your life, and
Right.
you've successfully acclimated to it, and you've adapted
Right.
to it.
You're
That's
used to
normal.
it. It's habitual. Okay, I can do that in
Yeah,
the back, with my eyes closed. Yeah. That's a
yeah.
good point. If it's
If it's
new,
like
it ain't
clockwork.
normal.
Yeah, it's like clockwork. It's
I love
It's
that.
got to be like clockwork for you. And like I said, for me, and again, this is my personal account of what my chief complaint is and what my symptoms are. And as the one thing that I want to kind of stress, like I said, I mentioned that it's okay to admit that you're broken. It's okay also okay to admit that something is wrong.
Ooh, please admit it.
Something is wrong. Something is really wrong with you. And that's not saying like no, this is not, you know, this ain't DEFCON 1 type stuff, you know, because if it was DEFCON 1 type stuff, then we had did that would be a much
What
that
is
speaks to a much.
DEFCON 1? What is that?
It's so DEFCON 1 is like the readiness state for the military, as far as like
Okay, bring me in. Bring me in.
prepare for like prepare for like war or like nuclear war.
I'm
So
like, what in the Voltron and the Power
she said,
Rangers?
"What the Voltron?"
It just sounds
She said,
DEFCON
"What
1.
the
DEFCON
Voltron?"
1. Link up, link up, link up.
So I put it like this: when it gets to a point to where it's bogging down, it should put it like this: it should never get to a point where it bogs down, meaning that you are at your very very last straw.
Okay.
And a lot of us have pushed ourselves to that very very last straw, probably
Mm,
more times than we care to admit.
right. I agree.
So But part of this process now, okay, now we know that we're broken. Okay, what the hell are we gonna do about it now?
What are we gonna
What are we
do?
gonna do about it? So first of all, let's analyze. Let's look at why we're in the condition that we're in.
Mm.
Analyzation comes with looking, observing. Why are you in the condition that you're in? Why are you in the shape that you're in? Then it also comes with assessing. What I mean by that is just now that you've analyzed yourself, now it's time to make a thorough and honest assessment with yourself. I'm broken because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Why am I broken? Well, A, B, C, B, A, B, C, and well, we go skip over D. We go skip over D and go straight to F.
Okay.
So that the assessment part of it starts with us just looking at ourselves, looking at every aspect of our lives. What you know, what relationships are we? What healthy relationships are we
Ooh.
maintaining? Um,
Or not so healthy.
or not maintaining.
Some
Who
have
are
no nutritional value
yeah?
whatsoever.
Who are we inviting in? And I've said this on more than one
Ooh.
occasion. Who are we inviting in our orbit?
Come on here.
Who are we inviting in? When I mean our orbit, when I say orbit, I mean our close proximity.
Wow.
Because who are we inviting in close proximity to us?
Mhm.
Because if we're inviting chaotic people in chaotic situations in close proximity to us, then we're probably we're probably being chaotic as well.
Right.
So we have to assess those. And if whatever doesn't fit has to be cut away,
Right.
has to
Because
be
if you get
removed.
a diagnosis, prescriptions to get rid of said issue, but you
Oh
return
yes.
to the very thing, the very person, the very place that created the state of dis-ease,
Yep.
and you're right back to where you started.
Exactly. But
Wow.
and the thing that I've always said, and I will continue to say this until God calls me home, it goes back to peeling away those layers
Yeah.
and confronting that little boy that dwells within us all as men.
Talk about it, brother.
We have to confront that little boy that dwells within us as men because that little boy has experienced everything that you have gone through,
Wow.
every traumatic event, every hurt, every heartbreak, every disappointment, everything that you felt. That little boy has experienced all of those things.
Wow.
And the first the first but this is me. My
Okay.
first thought process was to protect.
Mm. Okay.
No, ma'am. You you can't protect anybody that's already been afflicted or already been that's already had pain inflicted upon them.
Wow.
This little boy's already been hurt. This little boy already had the scar, already been wounded, already has scars, already has other wounds in various stages of healing and things of that nature. This little boy has already cried. This little boy has already cried in tears. You refuse to cry.
Woo. Talk about that. Wow.
So
Wow.
now you see this person, for you. This little boy represents little boy represents you at your base level.
Wow.
This is the person who you are. This is who you are, but you buried it behind layers of hurt, pain, resentment, um, disappointment, emasculation, and so many other things that I could throw out there. Um, Lies, deceit, uh, religious beliefs,
Yeah.
the things that are said about you that were completely thrown out of context. All those things. This little boy represents who you are.
Yeah.
This little boy is you.
Wow.
This is your base form. This is you before the growth. This is you before Voltron was formed. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Before there was Voltron, there was 5 lions.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Before there was Voltron, there was five. There were five lines. And all five of those lines were independent of each other. Once
Wow.
they flew and they combined to form this one entity, that's that entity.
Right.
But
Right.
when they separate, they're still separate entities.
Right.
So this is you before Voltron was formed.
Hmm.
You're one of the lions.
Wow. That's powerful. That
This is
is
you at your
powerful.
base form. You have to look at this little. Like I said, there's a little boy that dwells. There's a little boy that dwells in each one of us as men.
Mm.
Most of you, I don't care. Look, you can deny it. You can say it don't exist. You can say it ain't true. But damn it, it's true. There's a little boy that exists inside of us as little men, and there's a little girl that exists inside of women.
Absolutely.
Don't think what I'm saying about us as men don't apply to women, because it does.
Um,
But for right now, I'm addressing my brothers, because some of us need to hear this. There's a little boy right there. You need to embrace that
mm,
little boy. That little boy that been through all that little boy that been through all been the experience all the shit you done experienced in your lifetime, in your life.
wow.
More likely going to experience everything else that more likely going to experience more stuff in life, because you ain't dead yet. You gonna experience more stuff. So instead of trying to protect this person, embrace him and say, "Hey, look, I'm sorry for exposing you to all these things. I apologize for my choices having an adverse effect on not only you but on me.
Okay.
I'm sorry for putting you in harm's way when I know I should have pulled you back. I'm sorry that I acted irrationally, and it cost you. It cost both of us. I'm sorry about the choices that I made. So I'm sorry about the choices I made. Your choices are already made. Now you just dealing with the consequences of them. So there's accountability to that. Accountability to that.
Hmm.
Once that little boy is assuaged and calm down. Now it's time to build. Now it's time to build up what's been. Now it's time to analyze what's what's been destroyed. Can can what's been destroyed be rebuilt, or do I got to start from square one again? Do I
Mm.
got to start from? Do I got to start from square one again? If I do got to start from square one again, well, that's no problem. I got a whole truck full of building materials. It ain't an issue.
Right. That's good.
But are those building materials going to be able to stand up to the wet? Are they going to be able to stand up to what's going to be weathered?
Yes. That's
If
good.
they're not going to stand up to, if they ain't going to stand up to what's being weathered, it's going to be you going to have a hard time.
Mm.
That is why it is important for us for us as men to reinforce ourselves with with uh with with words of affirmation,
That's good,
to
brother.
reinforce ourselves with words of confidence, with words of confidence. It's important for us to reinforce ourselves with journaling. Hell, I still journal.
That's good. I love it. I'm proud of you for it.
I still journal, and I've been doing it. And I did this at the suggestion of my therapist. And I'm thinking like, well, okay, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna prove to be beneficial. Actually, I was wrong. It proves to be very beneficial, because it allows me to pull out those emotions, the negative emotions that I've had or that I still feel, and it allows me to look at them and confront them and deal with them. Brothers, let me just put this out here to y'all right now. And y'all ain't gonna like me if y'all ain't gonna like me when I say this, but I'm gonna say it,
All right.
because it's something I had to realize for myself. You cannot conquer what you do not confront.
That's good.
You cannot do it. You can't. You gotta confront that. You gotta look at that that thing dead in the face and say, no, not today. Never again.
Hey,
Never again when you destroy me. Never again when you take my pride. Never again when you make me feel as if I am not anything.
right. That's good.
We brother, we gotta get back to that. We got to get back to the point. And like I said, none of this is about being weak or anything like that. It's just about us, about digging, looking deep inside of us
Yes.
and putting ourselves at a point to where, okay, I know all my symptoms now. I know what my chief complaint is. Let's let's get on a treatment plan. So
Mm,
that way the physical wounds can start their healing process. The emotional wounds can start their healing process. The psychological and all the other wounds that are associated with our traumas, with our past, our traumas, our our worries, our doubts, and the stigmas that we face on a daily basis. All these things can start that healing process. Like I said, it's a process, and it's something that we're always going to be going through at some stage or another, because we're always going to be we're always going to be in situations, or we're always going to be in situations, or we're always going to be put in front of circumstances that are going to bring out strong emotions.
right.
Emotions like hurt, emotions like pain, emotions like um, strife,
Mm-hmm.
worry, doubt, fear,
Mm-hmm.
sorrow. All these are very strong emotions, and there won't be any one point in time where we won't be exposed to them.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're on that journey, that healing process, those things, you can confront those emotions, and you can allow the healing process allows us to be
Mm,
who we are. It allows us to feel what we feel.
that's important.
So many times we as men don't feel what we feel. We don't allow ourselves to feel what we feel. We don't allow ourselves to go through those strong emotions, and we just bury them. And we dig a grave, we try to dig a deep grave for them and bury them. And then we get mad, or we get surprised when they rise up from the dead.
Wow.
You can't bury something that's alive. You can, but our emotions are what our feelings, and our emotions are what make us human and what makes us alive. One thing that I've heard, and one thing that I didn't like, that I don't necessarily like, is that I've heard women say, I've heard some women say this, not heard some women say this. Well, y'all ain't human beings. Y'all are here for us. No, ma'am.
Mm-mm.
We are human beings. What you talking about? No, ma'am.
That
We're human
makes
beings too. We feel just like you do. We feel like y'all. We hurt like y'all.
mhm.
Y'all don't see it because we don't show it.
And that
Because
goes back to that assessment when you are dealing with certain types of people. You've got to realize a lot of what you deal with as men is probably connected to what you tolerate with some women.
yeah, or with our children.
Or that too. If you're tolerating certain types of behaviors that are negatively impacting you, let me give you an example. There's a song out called That's Just My Baby Daddy. Why is
Ah,
just that? But when you laid down with him, he was everything. He was the flaming hot Cheetos. He was everything you needed. But after y'all had this kid and things didn't quite go right, he became just your baby daddy. Come on.
look. That
Mm-mm.
I could have said, you hit the nail on the head. I could have said, could not have said it any better. Any better. I mean, this person was your sunshine, your light,
Yeah,
your
everything.
everything. Now
Earth,
he
wind,
just
and fire. Huh?
that ain't just a person.
Barely.
Where they do that at? Where? Who?
What
How?
happened? All because
Why?
something didn't work between y'all two? Or all because of a misunderstanding, or it just didn't work in terms of a long-term relationship? Now you got to diminish the man's manhood.
Yep.
Come
I
on
mean,
now.
and
But
it, and it
but
go,
as men, this is just from a sister perspective to a brother. If you tolerate that, if you entertain that, if you allow that, that woman is going to think that is okay. And maybe she saw other women do that to the men in their lives, and that has been a learned behavior. But the more we stop normalizing degrading and demeaning each other, we may be able to experience positive emotions, because not all emotions are bad.
nope,
We need to
they're not.
get ourselves connected to brothers, sisters, whoever, people who invoke more positive emotions. If you got that person who keep teaching and pushing, and you, it's always a quick fuse because they know where your jugular vein is.
Yep. And they gonna go for it every
They
time.
don't go for it to
And
get a
then,
rise out of you. They love arguing with you.
yep,
Come
they
on,
go they
don't
gonna go for
entertain
that
that.
jugular, man. They gonna go for that jugular vein, and they gonna watch you bleed out.
See, and there are some people on the planet who have they take enjoyment
Yeah.
in some of
Great
this.
joy, great joy and
See, I told you. See, hey Tracy, thank you for popping in. I just feel like I'm glad. First of all, let me back up. This is not a conversation you hear men having very often.
nope.
I applaud you, brother, because it's a necessary one, even though it may be an unpopular one in the male community. Now, you'll find all kinds of different shows with women talking about emotional healing, emotional intelligence, trauma. But for a man to decide, I'm going to bring this up as a check in, I applaud you, and I hope I need everybody who's watching this replay or whatever, tag some brothers. We would love to see some interaction, because apparently this is a necessary conversation.
Yep. Yeah. It is. And the funny part about this is and I hate to say this, but fuck it, I would say it. The black manosphere has,
Ooh.
and yes, I'm calling out the black manosphere. And yes, I don't care who comes for me about this, because I'm calling it like I see it. The black manosphere has failed black men.
Okay.
The reason we talk about, guys like Umar, like Dr. Umar, and all these other cats that have this content that caters more towards guys. Look, y'all dudes done failed. I promise y'all done failed.
Mm.
The reason I say that y'all done failed, because y'all some of these guys are always talking about how women, you guys want these women to be submissive and all this other stuff. But are you addressing, you want this woman to be all this to you, but are you addressing you?
Good point. Good point, brother.
Are you addressing your damn issues?
Good point. Very good point.
Is your head on a damn swivel?
Mm-hmm.
Do you meet your old requirements that you putting off on somebody else? Are you emotionally intelligent?
Hmm.
You're wanting a woman to submit to you, but submission is a two-way street, bruh.
It is. And most women that I know, at least the ones that are mature, there's no problem with it. But then the question becomes, submit to what? Do we know what we're submitting to? Are we secure? So, and for Umar Johnson or whatever, brother, I'm not afraid to have a discussion about submission. But like you said, what are you bringing to the table for her to submit to? There's ways to improve on both sides.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
both, as men and women, we have plenty room to improve in terms of how we are showing up in the world and in relationships.
Yep.
Huge, huge.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing that's for me, that is the disconnect with that.
Yeah.
Because you guys are talking all this stuff and saying that this is this is what masculinity is, and this is what a man is supposed to be. Look, I'm gonna need y'all to stop. I need y'all to stop that, because Basically, because we can use a dictionary. We can use a dictionary definition of what masculinity is,
Mm-hmm.
and we can quote that all day.
Mm-hmm.
But what a man is different, has different meanings to different men.
That's true. Just like with femininity, I 100% agree with that.
You can't tell me that I'm not a man just because I don't operate the way this other man is. What? I got my own set of thought processes. I got my own set of moral values. I have my own code of honor and stuff like that. So you can't tell me that I'm not operating as a man.
Right.
But when you want to pigeonhole it, you want to put it in a box where it doesn't belong. Why would you
Mm-hmm.
want to pigeonhole that? But pigeonhole it for all men. All men ain't gonna respond to what ain't gonna respond. Look, all
Hmm.
men ain't gonna respond to being pigeonholed.
Mm-hmm.
No, sir, this is not how I operate. That's not the way I move. That's not the way I maneuver in this world. I maneuver this way.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I maneuver in the world. If you don't like it, that's cool. You don't gotta like it.
And there's
You
no one size fit all template for individual men and women. You are who
exactly
you are. So maybe
exactly.
you're not an aggressive, assertive Umar Johnson type, but still you have just as much education and good intent. You just don't present yourself. Just let me say this: the person that talks the loudest doesn't mean they know the most. They just talk loud. I have learned in corporate America that there are some people who appear to be so knowledgeable, and nothing against Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't know him. I have nothing against him. I plan on listening to some of his sermons. But just because a person comes in a militant way or an authoritative way doesn't necessarily mean that they're really knowledgeable. They just talk like that. Some may be, they just have that persona and that facade of making you feel like that's the one we need. Why? Because they talk loud. But what happens when you need them to make some changes? Can you count on them? Can you count on them? Or
Nope.
is this all smoke and mirrors?
You know what I call those people? Windbags.
Wow.
That's what they are. Dude, you're a windbag. Are you walking what you're talking?
Yeah.
Are you practicing what you preaching?
Right.
Are
That's
you
it
actually
right
living
there.
that? Are you actually living that life?
That's it right there.
Because if none of that stuff match up a line up for me, nope. I don't nope.
Wow.
I'll tell what I don't follow cats like that. And don't get me wrong. There are times where because I'll just go put this out here because I do watch cats like Fresh and Fit and Kevin Samuels and other people, but I don't always, but I listen to what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the things that they say make sense. And then sometimes what they say be like, what the hell are they talking about?
The same thing about Louis Farrakhan.
Exactly.
No, no disrespect. There are some things that he says that makes sense, and some things I'm like, mm-mm.
Like,
And
huh?
the late Kevin Samuels, his tone and the way he would specifically target Black women to offend them. I'm not saying that everything he said was wrong, but the spirit of a thing has a lot to do with whether I'm gonna go along with you or not. What's your spirit behind
Yeah.
what you're saying? If you're
Yeah.
going in to degrade and to demean and to embarrass and to humiliate, then what's your purpose?
There's a way to bring about correction to somebody
Absolutely.
without being overly aggressive or mean.
And without humiliating them.
And
I'm not for public humiliation unless it must be well deserved. And
and I,
that's a push.
yes. And I would rather be corrected in
Yes,
private
yes,
I would rather be corrected in private than be
yes.
corrected in public, because if you
Right,
correct me in private, I'm much more open to feedback.
right.
then you try to correct me in public. Because if you do that, oh, now I'm straight on the defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and I've learned at my age and all the things that I've been through, it takes a lot to get me wound up.
Okay.
It takes a lot to get me to the point of being angry.
Right.
Now I fought with issues with anger in my look, I fight with anger. I've been fighting with anger issues since I was a teenager. That's just that's just that's just That's just the one thing that continuously that's that one monkey that continuously stays on my back. The more I knock him off, the more he jumps on my back. And that's the teeter totter with that. And
Mhm.
again, I'm cool with that because now I know I've been given strategies and techniques on how to deal with it.
Okay. Okay.
So now, as far as like somebody can say something, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, keep on talking.
Okay.
Or better yet, I'm gonna walk away and I ain't gonna listen to that. So it takes a lot for me to get to a point to where somebody's gonna push a panic button. But I tell people when you do push that panic button, just I'm telling y'all, and I told you, look, you push that panic button, I'm gonna advise you minimum safe distance. That's all I'm gonna
Mm.
tell you.
Okay.
Because when you push that panic button, you look. I need you to get minimum safe distance because if you get caught up in this blast radius, you're done.
Now, have you? We determined what healing was.
Right.
Now, are we able to get into rehabilitation? Because you're saying
Yeah,
that they're not synonymous.
they're not synonymous.
Okay.
Rehabilitation. The definition of rehabilitation is the action of restoring someone to health or
Mm-hmm.
normal life through training,
Mm-hmm.
therapy either after imprisonment, addiction, or illness,
Hmm.
or it is the action of restoring something that has been damaged to its former condition.
Okay.
So I want to say this with rehabilitation.
Okay.
Rehabilitation is a process more concentrated restorative process that involves several modalities.
Okay.
When I say that, okay, so let me break this down in medical terms so that way some
Yeah.
people who they may not understand what I'm saying. So we talk about rehabilitation in medical terms. We're talking about physical therapy. We're talking
Yep.
about speech therapy. We're talking about occupational therapy and everything else that goes into that. Now, when a doctor or a therapist orders these types of therapies, they offer they they also throw in these things called modalities.
Okay.
These modalities are kind of like they're more of the pinpoint to what we're actually going to pinpoint.
Mm.
Where we're actually going to target, should I say.
Okay. Okay.
So say if you're going for physical therapy and like
Mm-hmm.
for a knee, if you're rehabbing a knee or you're rehabbing a joint, such as a knee or elbow or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or shoulder or whatnot, you're gonna go through you're gonna go through that physical therapy. And those modalities that they're gonna put you through are targeted things, targeted exercises and events that target that joint to get it back to strength, get it back to its normal function or its normal strength, or at least as close to
Mm.
normal function and strength as it can be, as it can get. Now, I've had physical therapy before, had knee surgery, I tore my MCL playing ball. Horrible. All I'm gonna say is it was horrible.
Mm.
And the reason I say it was horrible because every day it hurt.
Okay.
Every time it got to a point at one point where I dreaded going to therapy because I knew this therapist was gonna poke, prod, pull, stretch, and stretch on me, and then they gonna repeat it three more times.
Mm.
There be times I leave physical therapy exhausted.
I've experienced that.
Because this person done pulled, prodded, stretched, and then repeated the process several times over till I'm like Roberto Duran. No mas. Just quit. I quit already. But I have to say this because it was something that my PT to my physical therapist told me.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go. You have to go through this hurt if you want to get yourself back to where you were, or at least as close to where you were.
Right.
But
Yeah.
why you got to do it? And I'm sitting there crying. Why you got to do all this poking and prodding and stretching and pulling? It hurts. And I'm crying like a baby because I don't want to go. I don't want to go through that because it's painful.
Right.
But that's the part of the process that we have to endure. Now, what I mean by mental and emotional rehabilitation, that means we talk about forgiving yourself.
Yes.
We're talking about acknowledgement. We're talking about acceptance.
Yes.
We're talking about understanding. We're talking about, absolution, trying to see, you don't have to seek absolution. The person that hurts you, you have to be, you got to be, you're going to have to get used to the fact that the person that hurt you may not ever seek absolution from you.
That's true.
You
And
have to,
the physical therapists, they are trained to watch your reactions and know exactly how much pressure, because there's such thing as too much, where you could literally, exacerbate, an existing injury. So
exactly.
they're trained and educated to pay attention to those, whatever the modalities are, doing 2 sets of those versus 5 sets,
Yep.
or doing a few sets and then doing an ice pack for a minute to do a cool down. That's their job, to be able to tailor that therapy to, and that could be mental or physical.
Yep, it
The
is.
doctor or therapist is supposed to be watching, like, okay, that's enough for the day. I mean,
Exactly.
we got into some areas that brought up some things, triggers and landslides. We made some headway, but I think we've done enough for one day.
Yep.
Let's do this again in 2 weeks or 1
Yep.
week.
Now the one thing after all that poking and prodding and me crying like a baby and stuff like that because I was in so much pain. The one thing I look for was ice tub.
Oh yeah, that's the best part.
The cold tub, because I didn't care that water was ice cold. I just wanted to get in it so I can relax and get this knee to not hurt, to stop
That's
hurting
the
so
best
much.
part. That's the best part.
But it equates the same thing to us as far as emotional and mental. We gotta be able to put ourselves in an emotional cold tub
Mhm.
or a mental cold tub when we hurt, when we're that much pain. And what I mean, and I don't mean, it usually a cold tub is to relax those muscles and get those muscles to kind of either relax or get them to kind of not be in so much pain and all that other stuff.
Mhm.
That emotional cold tub is the same thing. This gives us a chance to acknowledge what we feel and find and look for the best way to let it out.
And in that cold tub, I call it a cool down. If you
Yeah,
are not married and you're dealing with a relationship that's tumultuous, you may need to take a break. Because
very
if
much
that
so.
person or that relationship is feeding the frenzy of anxiety, depression, second guessing who you are, let that cool tub be. You know what?
That your chill out moment.
Let me chill out. And it's not because you're a horrible person. It's just the way the little boy in you and the little girl in me, we're not playing well right now.
Yeah. Y'all have to and sometimes you have to realize that y'all are not playing on the same field. You have to realize that.
One of us, one of we're actually causing each other even more trauma.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I'm gonna step away. Love you dearly, and I'm not saying I won't ever come back to this, but I need to choose me and
Right now.
figure out what's happening in my world where I am so broken before I can attach myself to you, which wouldn't be fair for me to hemorrhage on you. So really, I'm trying to do the right thing.
Yep. And all the emotional training is like, The emotional training I'm talking about, talking with your therapist, understanding your triggers,
Yes.
understanding what this pushes you to the edge, but not necessarily over the edge,
Right.
pushes you
If
right
it's
to the
lack of
edge, to the
trust,
ledge. Yeah,
abandonment, rejection, whatever that thing
yeah,
is, it's got to be addressed. It's not
yeah.
going away until it's
Oh,
addressed properly. It's the
and
elephant in the room.
oh, look here, it is the big elephant in the room. It's sometimes we talk about that that sometimes we have a weight that sits on us. Maybe you might want to see if that's an elephant's
It
four
could be
legs on
the-
you.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
even more pronounced in relationships. Whether it's
Woo.
look, and this is the one thing that I learned. You know,
Mm.
balance cannot exist in dysfunction.
Wow. Okay.
Balance can never exist in dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot, if I go through all of, and I'll just use myself as an example. After going through all that stuff, I'm still going through all the things I'm going through, but it's less frequent, and I'm at a point to where I feel like I'm balanced enough, and now I can be balanced enough to try to bring balance to you, but you don't want to be balanced. You want to bring chaos and all kind of other crap, and now you throw me out of balance.
Wow. Wow. Huge.
Because I
Hey,
don't say I
back
don't work
me
all
up.
I
Dealing
don't
with
I don't work
you.
I don't work this hard to get myself to a point to where I'm not I'm not even, but I'm close to it as I can
Right.
possibly get. And then you come in here, you come in here like a whirlwind, a tornado, and
And
you
wiped out my rehab. Just
and
wiped
you
out my rehab.
yep, and you fuck up everything. Oh no.
But only if we allow it, though.
True, that's true.
People are only allowed to do what we allow them to do. If
That's
we
true.
don't stand up and say, no, this is not acceptable because I've been healing in this area.
Yep.
And now here you are pulling me backwards, but I got to sacrifice being lonely for my
On
for
account
my peace. Okay.
yeah, on account of you being an ass. On account of you being an
I
ass.
mean, people when you're dealing with relationships or even marriages, the other individual may feel a physical void for you. They satisfy a physical need, but what
Yeah.
else are they doing to you? At what cost?
Yeah.
At what cost? Mentally, at what cost?
And
So
we
if
and,
you really
and it
choose
comes
you, you will sacrifice your fiery loins.
yep.
Uh-huh. Get you some peace.
Yep. And it comes to a point to where your peace is gonna be the most important thing to you.
That'll be the most important.
And if somebody gonna come around and they go throw a monkey wrench in that whole engine, yeah, we gotta
And let's talk about this, and you can maybe dispel the myth if it's not true. Because it seemed like it might be true. So with the brothers, y'all seem like no matter how things are going in the relationship, up, down, horrible, the physical part, y'all ready to roll. Whereas it seemed like women, we're more, it's gotta be, you know, I can't get there because we're not in a good place. So I'm sure not all men are like that, but it does seem like when it comes to the brothers, y'all can easily set aside any argument, disagreement. Oh, and let's just skip to the makeup sex and the physical aspect
yeah.
of relations,
Yeah.
relativity. So
Yeah.
is that a myth? I mean, what is that, bro?
For me, that was true at a point. That was very much that particular statement you did. That was true. That was true for me up to a point. And it was that. And the reason I say that is because in my marriage, it was I was like, look, I don't want to talk about all this shit. Man. Come on, when you taking your damn clothes off, man.
Wow.
But also in the same sentence, the environment wasn't conducive wasn't conducive for conversation.
Okay.
So when you listen, when you're in an environment that's not conducive to conversation, and there's always some form of dysfunction, chaos, or somebody's world being turned topsy turvy or upside down, or whatever phrase you want to use. When you're in there, when you're in it's that position to where everything is not conducive for proper communication, then it does become dysfunctional. And I'm gonna and yes, that was my fault. That was my fault for
Okay.
not tackling the issues at hand, or when we do talk about it, or when we do kind of excuse me, come to a point to where we want to talk about it, it's an argument.
Okay.
It becomes an argument, and it becomes a knockdown drag out.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just as destructive. So
This is
at a
true.
point, it got to a point where, you know what, I can't. And I realized, like, when I left and came here back to Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
I realized I was carrying that part of it, part of that into my current relationship. But I had to realize, okay,
Wow.
this is not what she's about.
Okay.
She's about conversation. She's about talking. She's about wanting us to sit down and talk like adults.
Okay.
That was new. That was a new thing. That was a new thing to me. I ain't gonna front. It was a new thing to me.
But your rehabilitation and your training opened you up to recognizing this person is different.
Very much so.
That's a part of the process. We miss that. We
Yep.
carry all of what happened to us into the first of all, let me say this. We don't take the cool down period.
Nope.
We our loneliness, fiery loneliness, whatever you want to call it, takes us from one to another without that rehabilitation. So you haven't allowed the training and the modalities you spoke of,
Yep.
the targeted modalities to help you should you decide to go back out there and do this again. Let's
Yep.
get you prepared, the preparedness for that. Because once you go from one to the other and you don't have that detoxification of whatever went wrong, the assessments, the
Yep.
acknowledgments, you haven't adapted to being single again, and you right back in something new. And I ain't saying it wouldn't work for everybody, but for some, we need that cool down, that
Gotta
wrench
have it.
off.
This
Yeah,
decompression period.
get wrenched off real good. Get
Exactly.
wrenched off.
Reach this off real fast.
Some
And
residue. It's some
that
residue on you.
that cool down period it's not meant to be a short period,
Hmm.
because any relationship that we're in,
Mm-hmm.
interpersonal relationships, or I won't even say that. Any relationship that we're in, you got to be able to have to a point to where, look, I need to get this off of me because, this stinks. I need to
This
get this off of me
2-year-old
because,
pull up
it's
need to come
unpleasant.
off me. Come on, that pull up been on you for 2 years. Take that thing off and get fresh.
I need to sit in some hot water. I need to sit in some hot water and wash real good.
Real good. Get
But
that residue off of you.
because whether people believe it or not, we carry residue. We carry the residue of, even we can scrub. We can scrub, and it don't work. And
Right.
look, I'm one of those people that I like bathing good, scrubbing
That's a
good
good
too,
scrub.
because
That's what it's supposed to be.
but
It's
we
supposed to be
carry
a
that
good
residue.
scrub. Mm-hmm.
But we carry that residue on us because
You freezing up on me, brother.
It's residue for a reason.
Right.
But we don't have to carry that residue into another relationship.
Right.
Because that residue is representative of the disappointments, the hurts, the pains, the stresses, and the strains of that relationship. And you don't want to carry all that into another relationship, to a new person, because now you're throwing your burdens from the past relationship onto this person.
Right.
That ain't baggage. That ain't baggage anybody want to take.
Right. And I'll give you an example of that. In my dating time, I always called myself the rebound chick, because the brother would be either coming out of a fresh relationship ending, or in that intermission period. I don't like you, you don't like me, we taking a break. And then they meet me. I'm totally free, single and ready to mingle. But this one particular gentleman, he told me coming into it, I'm telling you now, I'm coming out of a 7-year, serious relationship where I was going to marry her. So I'm not trying to get too deep just yet. Right. And if a brother tells you that, ladies, if y'all watching, believe him. But not me. I heard what he said, but what I heard was, I'm just coming out of something. But when you put your feminine beauty on me, big mama, I shall be made whole. Very I say unto you, bring it on. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Okay. That's what LHG heard. Okay. So here I am just pouring out my heart and doing all these wonderful things. And he like, I did tell you I really wasn't trying to get too serious, but you keep landing out here like this.
Didn't I warn you, lady?
I warned you. If people warn you, you need to believe them. You need to understand, because a cool down, I'm not saying the cool down got to be Sister Act 2, meaning lock yourself up in a seminary and come out a monk. I'm not saying that. It's being intelligent enough to say, I can have a couple pop and a couple wings with you, but I'm not going to bed with you. I'm not making you my woman right now. I'm going to have a date with you. We're going to talk. And I'm allowing myself to heal. And I'm not going to throw myself into this just yet. But I have told you how I feel. Let's be friends. No benefits. I know that's hard to talk about. Be friends, because the benefit package, y'all start giving benefits, brothers. Things start getting weird because you didn't put the benefit package in, and she ain't been in here 90 days.
Oh, look here. They get hella weird.
Because the benefit package, it changes the game.
They get hella weird.
It changes the whole dynamic. You saying friends, but you laying on down in an intimate moment. That it changes everything.
If I'm your friend, and we all of a sudden we do the do. Oh, look here. It's
not going. In most cases, that young lady, unless that's just her MO too, to be physical, unless you found your match and want to be physical, that young lady is probably going to be like, oh, he is into me, more than what he's saying. So intentions have to be very clear and clearly communicated in these situations. So because your mouth is saying, you just my friend, but you at my house every night. Why am I cooking you dinner? Why every night? You getting my man benefits, my husband benefits, but you want to stay in the friend zone. No, bro, eat at your house.
You gotta be careful about that. Gotta be careful about that.
Got to be careful, because people are slipping up with these slippery slope friendships, and they're turning into situationships, and a lot of feelings get hurt.
Yeah, because now you done had this intimate moment, and now all of a sudden, we done had this intimate moment. Now I done caught feelings,
and it could be literally a moment, 7 good seconds, but it changes everything. Just saying. I'm just saying, you can count down 7, 6, 5, 4. But but a woman is in her feelings. She praying in wedding colors. She trying to figure out where y'all gonna live. It's mindset. It's mindset. I'm gonna leave it alone and drink my drink.
Beat me at the altar with all white dress.
I'm talking from experience. The brother was saying, I don't want to be nothing more than your friend. But yeah, a brother could be like, what you doing? I want a home cooked meal. What you cooking? Can I come over? Dude, I don't see my other friends like this. So
No, sir.
Define what these parameters are. Sound like you want a playmate.
Yeah, what fit? What side of fits are you straddling? What side of fits are you on, sir?
Rocking in this friend zone, and they doing things that typical friends
don't do.
Friendships should not include.
If we friends with benefits, then we may as well be exclusive.
See, and in her mind, depending on her maturity level, she may see the act as you saying you're exclusive. But ma'am, just because he's sleeping with you, that doesn't say he's being exclusive.
Same thing goes for dudes.
No, he was in that particular 15 minutes.
Sir,
he was all exclusive and all inclusive for that few minutes. But once he left your house, he could do what he want under the auspices of we ain't got no strings.
Yep, sir.
That's
sir.
The defense. We said friends. I can do. So what you saw me with another girl at the concert? Well, we said
exclusive
friends. Yeah, but
so same thing with dudes, sir. So brothers, just you friends with this girl, and she put that she put that swat pit out on you, and
talk about it.
She saying all she telling you is that we just
that
good
works
friends.
Both ways. Exactly. Tell the brother, you telling the truth.
We just good friends. No, okay, then all right. That's how we gonna play this. Then
just friends. We just friends.
That's how we gonna play this. Then so if I see you with another dude, I ain't finna get mad at or check you because of that. What?
Friend.
Because I already know how the game. Because you've already told me how this game is gonna be played.
Exactly.
And whether or not I want to, it's up to me whether or not I want to be a willing participant.
Right. This is true.
No, like I said, if we look here, if we up there bumping uglies like that on a nightly if we bumping uglies on a nightly basis like that, and then you make it home. No, baby, we are not just friends. We are exclusive with the capital X.
Exclusive, honey.
Because at this particular point, you ain't finna be rolling. You ain't finna be rolling around with nobody like that. No. We got
a couple of questions for you, brother.
Let me put the kibosh on that right now. Stop your foolishness.
Right.
We ain't friends. We exclusive, damn it.
Right. So brother, since we've talked about healing and rehabilitation, what would you say are some of the obstacles with men when it comes to going through the rehab process and the healing process? What have been some of the obstacles you've seen in your own life that we can discuss and maybe even figure out how to overcome?
Hell, the simple fact of not wanting to do it.
Wow.
The fact of that I gotta do this to make myself whole. Damn, I loathe this.
Wow.
I don't want to do this. I just want to go back to my little corner and my little corner of the world and not be bothered with no damn body. So just the simple fact of some of us just don't want to do it.
Even because the benefits in doing the work and going through the process it's too uncomfortable.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I can say that from my own personal experience. It was very, very uncomfortable. And when
Okay.
I say uncomfortable, I mean uncomfortable.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
somebody had stuck me, like somebody had stuck me out of the, in a wind in a stuck my head out of the winter wind, and all of a sudden here come this wind and boom, I
Wow.
get hit. No, that when I say uncomfortable, uncomfortable. Like so, like all everything that I hid and tried to bury deep down inside of me
Mhm.
was all of a sudden exposed, and
Wow.
then I felt it bad. I felt embarrassed.
Wow.
All of a sudden, like, well, damn.
I feel that.
I just got my, they just, my, everything I just did is out there for the whole damn world to see. No, it's not out there for the whole world to see. It's only out there for the people that are true, that are treating you to see.
Wow.
They're the ones that's going to see this, going to see that. Not everybody else. So for me, it was just a simple fact of just not wanting to do it.
Okay.
And Ota did what I did do it initially. I half-assed it.
Okay. That's real talk. Real talk.
What I did, this process. Look, you cannot half-ass this process. If you go at it, if you go at this process half-cocked, you probably not even go get half the results.
Come on. Talk about it, brother.
If you walk into it with half a commitment, you probably not gonna get half the results,
Wow.
because you have to be fully committed
Yes.
to this process, because this process is going to grow you. This process will stretch you.
Yes.
Yes, this process is going to hurt.
Come on.
Yes, this process is going to force you to face your emotions
Yes.
and force you to face that little boy that dwells in you. This process is going to force you to look for balance in between all of those things. And yes, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. It's gonna hurt a lot. And it's gonna hurt often.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, and brothers, I'm telling y'all that because because that is currently my process.
So, brother, I would venture to say or ask that at the barbershop, y'all are talking about healing and rehab.
Man,
Can we venture
man,
to say that y'all
look,
don't talk about this amongst each other?
the honestly, since the last time I went to a barbershop, I was 25 years old.
Okay.
That was the last time I went to a barbershop. That was 25 years ago. And the
Hmm.
time in the and the talk in that barbershop was nothing about healing and none of that other stuff. We
Wow.
talked about relationships, but they talked about it at a base level.
Mhm.
So no, you now I would fancy to think
Mhm.
that barbershop talk is a little different than it was 25 years ago, around in 1996, 1995, 1996.
Mhm.
So I would fancy to think that barbershop talk is a little different. And maybe they're talking a lot more about these types of issues. I don't know. I ain't been. I like I said. I ain't walked into a barbershop since I was 25 years old. So I don't know. But you would think that these types of conversations are happening.
I
If
would
they're
hope that because it's not a woman's issue.
nope.
Emotions and healing, rehabilitation is a human issue, and
Yep.
I think that that stereotype is only women that have support groups and discussions, and prayer groups or whatever. But brothers, I mean, what good is it having a brother, having a mentor, having someone in your life where you can't dig down deep with them, whether it's a pastor or a relative or a best friend, at least one.
Yeah. I get you. I get you. And I'm gonna like this. Anybody look, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Any dude that says they're a man's man, you're lying.
And what does that even mean?
And that's the question that I
Is this
asked.
extra masculine?
Is you extra hard, extra masculine, or what? I mean, what the hell does that mean, bruh? You a man's man? What is that? I
Because if
mean,
you think of that literally, you don't want to know what can come
oh,
to mind.
I know.
But
But
to
what's
me,
up
I
with?
think they mean it, I'm extra macho. You ain't gonna find no femininity in me. I'm hard. I'm like Birdman. I'm woo, you know, Hulk Hogan and what I'm old, so
I mean,
Whatever.
well, I remember Hulk Hogan, and I
I'm
remember
like
Macho Man Randy Savage. So I
Superman
know,
or whatever.
I
So
know.
I mean, I would hope that for those brothers who end up watching this, even in the replay, that you find some sense of community, whether it's in a church group of men. The men ministry is just not to stand and sing a song and sound horrible every fifth Sunday of the month.
Exactly.
The men's ministry should be you are having small group sessions, you are going out and having fellowship. Good evening, Auntie Diane, having fellowship. Because we got to come out of the everyday atypical men's group, women's group. Okay, this Sunday is the men. They're gonna be the ushers. The men gonna sing. But then, what did the men do that edify them as human beings, or help them in their relationships, or help them in vocationally, educationally? What did you?
Yeah.
What you should be doing every week? But since you're calling it the men's ministry, what are y'all concentratingly doing? What modalities
But see that,
dealing with for the brothers?
and that's the thing. That's the other thing that needs down. See, I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm glad that you brought that particular aspect of it up because it was something I wanted to touch on. But I want to be very careful about how I tread.
Okay.
Because you can, and the reason I say I want to be careful about how I tread because you can say something and then you can say something, then there's gonna be somebody's ministry that's gonna cry wolf and say, well, we don't do that here at Mount Sinai Catholic Holy Kojic Baptist Church.
Ooh, all of that. All right.
Y'all know? Okay, what the hell y'all do then?
What do
So
you
I
do?
want to be careful about how I talk about this, and I want to be careful about the ground that I tread.
Okay.
But how I'm thinking about it and the way that I'm seeing it, I don't think I'm gonna be able to avoid that. So I'm just gonna go out and say it. Just gonna say it.
Okay, I'm ready.
When we talk about when we talk about the aspect of the church and we talk about the aspect of religion,
Mm-hmm.
there are misconceptions even in that.
Okay.
There are misconceptions even in religion because they gosh, they think some religions and some religious places, some churches, they don't. And I'm not saying all churches, so please don't come for me when I say that. I said some, not all. So I'm not wholly generalizing, but I am throwing some in there because let's just call it a spade a spade. There are some churches that operate like what I'm operating in the manner that I'm about to describe. When we talk about churches, some churches in religious places, some of these churches don't actually or honestly recognize that. They don't recognize that the men in the ministry have power, just like the women have power in the ministry. They think the only person that has power in that ministry is the male pastor, and he may not even, and his ass may not be all together.
Okay. May not.
So we have to get out of this. If we're gonna talk about it from that aspect, as Christians, we we gotta look at it from every possible angle, not just the angle that we're exposed to.
Right.
We
I
gotta
agree with
look at
that.
it from every possible angle because
I agree with that.
you can't look at it from the left, but
Mm-hmm.
you see this stuff on the right, and then you see stuff in front of you, see stuff in back of you, and you're not acknowledging any of it. You're only acknowledging what you see, but there's things that you don't see, and you're not acknowledging that. Dude,
And you're gonna have someone that comes in your assembly that is unchurched. Isn't that what we're there for? So
exactly.
for their healing and their rehabilitation process, you are gonna have to take a step back and say, this is a person who's dealing with life. Let's get to
Yep.
know them. That's why when you bring in people to your church and you open the altar, as we say, or you give them a visitor card, as we say, the follow up
Uh-huh.
is key. The follow,
Yeah,
even
very much
if they
so.
don't join your church, they came, fill the card out, check on them. What do
Yep.
you need? How are you doing? So, and for brothers, because there's a disproportionate percentage of females versus males in the church, when you got those brothers in there, they represent the root of our family, the strength of our families. So you need to have other brothers or a program in place to really hold on to them and see about them and check on them, churched or not,
Yep.
okay? So that you can help address some of those pain points and triggers and landslides. He could have just showed up at church because he was just violent domestically to his girlfriend or spouse or children.
And he's looking for absolution.
But he showed up not to just not to be excused for his wrong, but to really say, I know I was wrong and I don't know why I did that.
Yep.
Something just took over me. I need help.
Yep.
And we
Churches
got to
tip
be
churches.
careful with that.
Yeah. And from my experience, churches typically try to retain women and children more than they would men. Because I don't know if they said see it. This is just a question in my a thought process in my mind, which
Mhm.
is more of a question than it is a thought process. I don't know if they look at men as expendable assets or unreliable liabilities. I just don't know.
That goes back to the song, That's Just My Baby Daddy,
Yep. And
and
even
not the father of my children. That's just
yep.
my baby daddy. So
And
the
from
how we look at men,
yep.
we need
And
to.
in my experience with church, I mean, after a while, it got to a point to where I was so emotionally damaged,
Mhm.
and then feeling like I was abandoned by my church family because I was still going through the things that I was going through, still going through the depression, still going through all this other stuff and things of that nature. And I'm talking and I'm reaching out, and all I'm getting is, well, by now you should have prayed your way out of this situation. Oh, wait, hold on, wait a minute. By now,
Well, but that depends on where you end up going. Because I know there are some powerful ministries out there that have amazing men's groups. My father
right?
is a part of a ministry at our church that I grew up in, and it's involving mentoring. It's outside of the Sunday service.
Right.
There's something going on with the brothers outside of the Sunday morning experience. They may be going to lunch on Saturday to have some real talk like this. There may be some classes. There may be some mentoring, some one-on-one activity, because the church should be doing something bigger than just a Sunday service. You should be imparting some wisdom and knowledge that the brother can use in his life Monday through Saturday as well.
Oh yeah, for
Goes
sure.
for women too. We're talking about the strength of families. These are our brothers.
Yep.
So how we treat them, how we educate them, how we honor them is huge.
Yeah.
Is
Oh,
huge.
very huge.
It's
It,
huge.
it even points out, so that can even spill out even more from the church, from the
Mhm.
church building. And now we're talking about the community. Now we're talking about
That's
a community.
community.
We're talking about a communal thing now. Because now if communities and churches and other places have the resources and the ability to reach out to men, but also even reach out to uh to younger men and
Yeah,
teenage boys.
that's the community
You
coming
know,
together.
you have you
Yes.
you have no idea how much of an impact that would make
Or
because
the healing and the rehabilitation
yeah,
that taking place in the community. Come on here.
because a lot of us as men, and I'm not saying me, but a lot of but I know brothers that grew up hard.
Yeah.
And when I mean hard, I mean hard. They grew up emotionless because that's all they were exposed to. They grew
Right.
up not feeling anything because that's what they were exposed to. They were exposed to not feeling anything something bad happened, or when a comrade passed, because that's what they were exposed to. That's the upbringing they were exposed to. That's the life that they were live. That's the life that they lived. But if you and these these younger guys, like these younger dudes that grew up like me in the late 80s, early 90s. Well, actually, I'm a 70s baby, so I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Right.
So
Me too.
I grew up through 3 decades. I grew up through part of a decade,
Mm-hmm.
which was the 70s, and then I
Right.
grew up in the 80s and then the 90s. So so almost all 2.5 decades.
Right.
So I watching dudes that I knew that I knew in my neighborhood, and I respected in my neighborhood. You know, some of these dudes were stand-up guys, and some of these dudes were trap stars.
Right.
And the reason, and I respected them because of how they treated me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I respected them because of the deference and the respect that they gave me and my brothers.
Okay.
Some of these cats ain't with us. Some of these dudes I grew up with ain't with us now.
Wow.
Some of these dudes ain't with us because either life caught up to them, they deleted themselves,
Wow.
or it's some other thing. And I keep telling folks, if my generation, it's it's up to my generation to reach back to these younger men, and teach them, you know, not teach them what it means to be a man, just teach them how to how to better maintain and manage yourself.
Right.
Because what I and there's a dude I talk to now, younger cat, like 36, 37 years old. Talk to Now I don't talk to him as much as I would like to talk to him, but I consider him a friend. I consider him a very, very good friend. I really do, because of the bond we have as brothers. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if I got an issue, I can talk. I know I can go to him and talk to him about it, and he's not gonna be judgmental.
Okay.
He gonna be like, he gonna give me the real and be like, look, bro, you gotta do this and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it is reciprocal, because he can come to me with an issue, and I can give him the real, and he can take that and run with it. You know,
Mm.
I mean, and I'm not gonna put it. I don't want to put his business on blast, but I have to. But I want to say this
Mm-hmm.
to make a point,
Okay.
and I'm not gonna say his name or anything like that.
Right.
But he called me one day, said he felt like life wasn't worth living. He felt suicidal.
Wow.
Literally called me with gun in hand.
Jesus. Woo.
He literally called. I'm like, oh my
You freezing up,
freaking
brother.
right now.
Okay, you
I'm
back.
like, oh my God. I don't want to be a witness to a deletion right now.
Wow.
And we talked, and he's opened it up, and he's crying. Try not to cry, but at the same time, I'll be emotional because I know where he is.
Mm-hmm.
I know where he is. I know how he feels in that instance.
Wow.
That moment, you feel
Mm-hmm.
worthless. You feel like you failed.
Right.
No matter what you do, it's just blood.
Right.
It don't come out right. Crap. And I'm talking to him, and as I'm talking to him, and I'm getting emotional about it now, because
Jeez.
I remember it like it was yesterday. We're talking, and he's explaining what he feels, and as I'm talking to him, I'm literally feeling what he feels.
Mm. Wow.
For a moment to where this ain't working. So let me just go ahead and off my damn self.
Jesus.
Ain't nobody gonna give a shit about if ain't nobody gonna care if I'm not here or not.
Hmm.
About his son,
Mm-hmm.
his granddaughter. I said, bro, these these people are the people that you're living for, sir. You got
Yes.
a son, you got a granddaughter, bruh. Who can you got it's what are you doing, right? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's more than life than just money and females and all this other BS, man. Whatever. Those things come and go. Matter of fact, hell, but matter of fact, I'll do you one better. You can't take that with you when you die. You can't take this money. You can't take cars. You can't take women. None of that stuff. You can't take that to heaven with you when you go. All that's gonna be left behind. But I also told him if you do that, you're leaving a void. You're leaving a void for your son and a void for your granddaughter. And
Mhm.
you're not doing what you're supposed to do as a father, which is to build a legacy for both of them to be able to be
Yeah.
able to have when you do leave this plane of existence in a natural way.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to tell him, like, bro, you stop, don't do that. You it's you got it's more way too much to live for than what did this
Way too much.
do it, man.
But that's the kind of stuff that brothers need to feel comfortable talking about, because how many brothers felt that way and followed through? I mean, thank God that he had you to call that could say, yeah, I feel that. And some people, men or maybe women too, but I'm like, if you're operating in pride and you don't want to be told, you a wimp, you a punk, straighten up, you need to be allowed to sit in that for a moment and have some words of encouragement. Like, where are you now, bro? If I got to come and get you, whatever,
Yeah.
ride around, where are you? Those kind
And
of,
and the
you
thing of
know,
it was,
saying,
I was willing to get a lift to go directly to where he was. I said,
right,
bro, don't you do anything. I'm on my way. And then he said, no, no. I said, no, I can make myself available if you
right.
need to, sir. Because it's not a thing. Because it's not a thing for me to not do that. It's I won't say that it's ingrained in me to do that, but
Mhm.
at that point in time, I saw a brother in pain.
And probably feeling an incredible amount of pressure. I feel like, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. I'm gonna get ready to get off here, brother. I feel like there's an incredible amount of pressure that's placed on men, um, from in the home, sometimes from
Yeah.
outside the home, from the government, from the police, from every angle. There could be an unfair amount of pressure, and not every man can maneuver through that in such a way where it just rolls off. A lot of it, some of it can be pressure that you need to step away from because it's a person that's putting that on you unfairly. That goes back to the assessments and the acknowledgments and the things that we talked about. We got to make
Exactly.
some decisions, brothers.
Yeah.
Who is putting that extra pressure on you? And could it be yourself?
Exactly.
Could you be the one? Because I know for me, I put more pressure on me than probably anybody else has. But could it be your upbringing or what you feel a man should be that's making you put extra pressure on you beyond what your family is even putting on you? That's a trick of the enemy too.
Exactly.
You got to get into a place, and I'm gonna go the spiritual route, because for me, Jesus and therapy are very important. And you need to be able to find that so-called balance, that so-called even plane, where you're able to be without that extra pressure and feeling like I'm just not, I can't do this. I just can't do this. I can't do it. This is good stuff, bro. I got to get out of here, brother. I ain't had my dinner. This is good.
We about to wrap it up.
So
So look,
good. This is
this was.
so
This,
good.
I'm gonna tell y'all, man. This is these are the conversations that these are conversations that I live for. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
because personal experience is a whole book in this and I can
Mm-hmm.
tie my personal experiences to a lot of the things that I talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say this before we ride up out of here, man. It's important for us as men to be healed, to be healed and to be rehabilitated. Because
Yes.
these things right here, man, these are the things, these are the stalwart tenets of who we are. Because how can we be how can we be protectors, providers, problem solvers, um, procreators to our spouse, procreators with our spouses if we're not we ain't healed and we ain't rehabilitated.
Right.
You know, we can't do that if we're not in that zone, that mode, in that
That's right.
zone.
You're right.
Because a lot of people be thinking like, well, I ain't. No, I'm not okay.
Not okay.
Ask me if I'm okay. Don't assume I am.
Please stop making assumptions. Please
And it's
stop.
and brothers, I'm gonna tell y'all this, man. And this is a plea to y'all. And then we gonna ride up out of here. Um, look, if you're not feeling okay, make a phone call to a friend. Talk to a friend. If you're to see a therapist, make a phone call to your therapist. Set up an appointment so you guys can sit down and talk. If you're feeling suicidal, contact the National Suicide Hotline.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know what's going down. If you if you're working and if you're working, well, I won't say most, mostly all employers have what's called the employee assistance program.
Right.
They can connect you with mental health professionals in your area to get you the help that you need. Those for depending on your job and depending on your plan, those you can have somewhere between 3 to 5 visits, and those visits are free of charge, paid for by your employer.
Yes.
And if you need to go beyond that, talk to the therapist and see what they can do see what they can do as far as being set up with insurance or private pay.
Right.
But I'm saying all that to say to kind of pin it down on 2 words: seek help if you
Please.
can. You know, look, we all know that men delete themselves at a higher rate than women do as far as suicide concerned. I think that's something that everybody knows. That's nothing new to anybody.
Right.
But the conversations that we're having at me and LSU and anybody else are having, we need to push the needle forward.
Yes.
Men's health and mental health should be more than just a one damn month.
Oh, yes.
And trust me, even though this month's gonna be, I'm talking about mental health. I'm talking about things that with mental health. I talk about this all day, every day.
Yes.
This is my thing. You know, I find one thing I posted on Facebook. I finally figured out what my purpose is because I kept trying to
Mm-hmm.
run because I kept running away from it. Now
Mm.
I know what my purpose is. My purpose is to reach out to my brothers
Yes.
when it comes to
That's good.
mental health and when it comes to just talking about who we are and where we need to be.
Yes.
This is my purpose. This is my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm an advocate for domestic violence, I'm much more of an advocate for my brothers when it comes to our mental, our emotional well being. Because when we are saying that we're emotionally stable, our physical health improves.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
Right.
this are correlated. They are connected.
Oh, very much so.
When you feel down and when you're depressed and you feel suicidal, your body manifests the same thing.
Hmm. Wow.
Like And if you don't tell the truth, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. But I enjoy this with you, sis. I really did. I know you got to get up out of here. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to
This is
conclude
good.
this episode of the check-in, man. Look, we do this.
We do.
We do this. We ain't new to this. We do this, y'all.
We ain't scared. We ain't
I
scared.
I ain't we ain't never scared. So
Never, never,
we
ever.
ain't never scared. So bring so whatever you got, bring it. We go tackle it. We go be the head on and we go crush it. I
Absolutely.
promise you we go crush it.
We're gonna be healed and
Hey,
rehabilitated.
damn, damn Skippy. Damn Skippy. But yo, man, look, this Facebook, LinkedIn. Follow us on our YouTube channel, man. Subscribe, hit the bell notifications, all everything, all that good stuff, man. Follow us on our website as well. Um, and also, man, just check us out, man.
Check us
Quint
out.
Jones and Quint Jones Coco Fitness gonna be live and direct on
Yeah.
My Life Has Destiny tomorrow, which you never know what's gonna happen with them. So make sure you stay tuned with that. And then my sis LSG's coming back at you guys again on Saturday with Critical Conversations. And Friday, man, I got a guest in the author's alley, man. Miss Carolyn Coleman's gonna come and bless us. And she's another contributing author to the book to the anthology that I wrote that I contributed to. And we gonna talk to her. Man, look, I got some more subjects that I want to talk about with these check-in episodes. If you guys got ideas for me to talk about, man, send them to me, man. Hit me up in the chat. Hit me up via email, whatever. If you got a subject that you want me to talk about on this check-in on the next episode of the check-in, hit me up, y'all. I
Yes.
promise you I ain't afraid to tackle nothing. Because when I don't know, I'm gonna research it. We gonna talk about it.
Oh, absolutely.
But yo, man, I want to thank my sis LSG for being here tonight, man.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I
Enjoy
love
this.
man. Look, it's always a pleasure to have you in here. To
Thank
talk and have a conversation because it's always nice to hear a woman's point of view when we talk about these subjects, man.
This is
Look,
good stuff. This is good stuff.
my brothers,
Absolutely.
my brothers, I want this. Look, I want us to be healed. I want us to be
Yes.
whole, and I want us to flourish.
Yes.
We have to do this, y'all. We can't be the strong pillars of our communities and of our families if we're not healed and we're not whole.
And you're not here.
Yeah,
So we
you
need
gotta
we
be present.
here.
Not just present in the moment, but present all the time.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna conclude this episode, man. The one thing I'm gonna always say is this: we love y'all with the love of God and Christ, and there's nothing y'all can do about that, man. We finna get up out of here, man. We love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow with My Life Has Destiny. And hey, y'all be good. Y'all be good. Y'all be good. We love y'all with the love of God, and it ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace.